this traveling by night. Is it possible that he was having a out-of-body experience? Because I myself had like 3 out-of-body experiences. So is it possible that he had out-of-body experience?
I have no idea. I don't.
Because it was very quick for him to just,
But I don't even know if the Quran is even talking about any. I don't think it's directed to Muhammad. I don't think it's talking about Muhammad.
At one point, there's mentioning that Jesus, when he spoke to his followers, he said, I'm going to tell you what you're storing in the houses. He's telling his followers, I'm going to tell you what you're eating at homes. I'm going to tell you what you're storing in your houses. So that's a little impossible that he's going to tell all of his followers what they're storing in the houses without entering maybe his nafs. His soul is going to exit.
So why would Jesus want to tell people what's in the houses? Don't they already know?
No, he doesn't know what's in the houses, but maybe he's going to exit the body, and he's going to, because they're hiding the real gospel, the real law of the God, because they're not following. Because he said, even in the corrupted Bible, he says, I didn't come to abolish the law, I came to fulfill it.
Yeah.
So they're still hiding the real message of God.
Okay, so do you think he literally goes into houses, or could this be a metaphor?
I would say that he's like spying or going behind their backs. But he's like, I would say that some of them. I would say that there's a possibility that he had like a out-of-body experience. Maybe
that's possible. I have no idea what Muhammad did in his own time or how he achieved any state. To me, it's completely irrelevant. I think that when the Quran tells us that when it challenges us to bring a verse like it, trust me, I could write you 114 verses of very poetical, lovely, interesting stuff. That's not what it's saying. What it's saying is, can you make this? Can you make the connection? So with this verse, in order for it to be about Muhammad having an out-of-body experience or anything else, we have to have an awful lot of information, and we have locked it into a specific place and time. Muhammad had an out-of-body experience, so what? What does that teach us in the 21st century? What do we learn from that?
I don't know, because I'm still investigating that thing, because when I had out-of-body experience, it was like half of it, like out-of-body experience. It reminded me of that. Because,
yes, astral planing is something that's we know occurs, and is part of Buddhist philosophy and Hindu philosophy, that this idea that you can actually in some way transfer yourself, Star Trek style, to somewhere else and come back without your body ever leaving. I can't see any evidence for that being in the Quran, or why it would be necessary for God to tell us that. Why wouldn't he just say, and Muhammad had an out-of-body experience? To me, that's trying to impose a view rather than allow the text to speak for itself. And the point I was making about the didactic center is, you are reading it from your experience. This reminds me of something because I can relate to this because this happened to me. But why would Allah think, what I need to leave this with, the last thing I'm going to tell them is that Muhammad astral planed one night? To me, that reduces it. And that's why, because people used to talk to me about the Quran and the Bible and what it said, Noah built this big boat and took 2 of each animal. And I just think, what's the point of that story? When we see it from a completely from a outside its temporal context, we can understand it as metaphors of being, rather than try and fix them into some kind of history. some kind of people's history, that there was really this flood and there was really this boat, and Israel really used to belong to the Jews. It doesn't make sense, because if these texts, if the message in its entirety, whichever way it comes to humans, is universal, then the story itself must have meaning for every space and time. Yeah?
And
Can I ask one question?